So I have this, and this is going to measure 5, so about halfway for each one. Luckily, this one's not that bad. Okay, it's a little bit too much. There we go. Right about at 5. As a splash. It's okay. I'm way more careful with the hydrochloric acid, I swear. Okay. So you see, first of all, it's all the same thing in all of them. So right now they're all going to be the same color. There we go. Okay, you guys agree? All the same color right now? Yes? Okay, that's all I've done so far. Okay, so now it says, slowly add 5 milliliters of concentrated hydrochloric acid to B1 and B2. The solution in test tubes B1 and B2 should turn blue. So we're basically making the forward reaction by adding our hydrochloric acid. So first, I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to not smell. You might want to back up too. It smells so bad. It's not that full, but okay. You guys see it's in there now? I got some food. Okay, so I need to add 5 milliliters into B1 and B2. So these ones should turn blue. So let me make sure. Yep, B1. So now I'm going to add. I have to do this kind of carefully because I want to only add 5. Okay. Did it turn blue? Slowly.
Purple.
It's kind of purple. It's slowly adding, slowly reacting. Ah. And then B2. Okay. So slowly adding, I do kind of have to mix it around a little bit, but not all reactions are instantaneous, so this is slowly turning into the forward reaction is what the B1 and B2 are. All right, so these two slowly will be the same. I might not have added enough cobalt chloride to all of them, or hydrochloric acid. More blue? Better? This one's still not blue enough, so what I'm going to do is add a little bit more hydrochloric acid. Basically, I want them to be the same to start with. So I got to open up this nasty container. Sorry, this is still just the first part, y'all. Okay. And then I will... Okay, would you see B1 and B2 same color? Yes? Okay. Oop. So that's what we wanted. Same color for those B1 and B2. I still have some more in here. I am going to be using it in a second, so I just want to kind of keep this to the side. It's corrosive, so I don't want it to mix with anything else. I'm just going to keep it there. All right, so now that I have, these are going to stay here. I'm not going to change those two. Okay, so their control. Then obtain a 400 milliliter beaker, fill it halfway, get a hot plate, and I want it between 80 to 85 degrees Celsius. Zach, Can you verify that this is somewhere, I would say, above 80 degrees Celsius? Well, it's still moving. Yes? Okay. So, before I move on, this is when I put things in the hot plate and the hot water and the cold water, that's going to be part 2. So part 1 is your initial, what you see initially. So go ahead and put your notice, your wonder, add drawings. This is what you initially see. It's going to be easier to see if I put a white paper behind the colors to help you out. If you guys can't see kind of in the back because this is in the way, you can move around over here if you want to see it better. So this is before. This is part 1. Before we've done anything, basically, 1 is just the pink stuff. The other one has a hydrochloric acid that turned it blue, and I haven't done any changes to it. Okay, so from our research and what I kind of explained is with the equilibrium is I can manipulate the experiment to go either forward or backwards by changing the conditions of the reaction. Okay, so once I have it to 80, 85 degrees Celsius, let's see. Ice water bath. Okay, so in P2, let you know, P2, so this is what I'm going to change. I'm going to add approximately 5 milliliters of my hydrochloric acid into P2 in approximately 0.5 milliliter increments. Okay, so here is P2. This is the second part. So this is the middle one. I'm trying to hold the paper behind it. Okay. There. That way you guys can kind of see the color, and I'm holding it up. Okay, and I'm going to add, I know, it's going to corrode my skin. I'm going to add 0.5 milliliter increments. So there's 0.5. There's about 1. 1.5. 2. 2.5. So I'm going to add a total of 5 milliliters. So this is, again, comparing with the original pink. 3. 3.5. 4. Let's see where it's going to. So I'm holding it next to the others as well because it's not the original pink and it's not what the other blue is quite yet. 4.5. And let's see, about 5. Okay, so that's one change I'm making. This is still in the second part, so you're making your second part observations. Okay, once the solution has turned blue in test tube 2, add 5. Okay, so it's not quite blue. Just like the other one, I, for whatever reason, need to add a little bit more hydrochloric acid. So I'm going to add a little bit more until it turns more like the other blue color. Still kind of a purpley. It's a little bit closer. I'm going to add a little bit more hydrochloric acid just to make sure it's nice and blue. Come on. Alright, so we can just slowly, there we go. There's 3 different valves on this, so I don't accidentally spray it when I mean to do something else. Okay, so now, a little bit more. Zach, get a little bit closer. Does that look like the same right now? Okay. So now that I've added 5 milliliters of the hydrochloric acid B2, do you guys agree P2 and B1 are pretty much the same now? Okay. So in increments, you can see kind of what it looked like. That's still part of part 2 you're adding to your notice. Okay, so now it says I'm going to add 5 milliliters of water. This one's not corrosive, luckily, so I can just do this one a little bit easier. But I want, again, 0.5 milliliters. Okay. So a little bit. A little bit. So I'm adding this to the same one I just added the hydrochloric acid in, my P2. Now I haven't mixed it all. All the water is being added to the top. But what do you guys see? Okay, so now I'm going to mix it up. I don't want to spill it because it still has very strong acid in here. Okay, it's so there's kind of a layer up here, kind of a layer in the middle, and kind of a layer at the bottom. I'm trying to slowly mix it without corroding my skin. Okay, what you're slowly going to start to see is it's slowly going to start to turn pink again. And you can kind of see that in the middle layer, it's starting to turn a little bit pink. So you can see, especially compared to the blue, it's pink right in the middle. So it's starting to turn back to pink by adding more water. All right, so it's still part of part 2. Then I'm going to add 2 milliliters of my silver nitrate into B1. So still part of part 2. But you know some in that one. Oh, there you are. Silver nitrate. Silver nitrate is also not really corrosive. What it does is it'll just dye my fingers black for like 3 weeks if it touches me. So.
Oh, let it touch this.
Well, I won't. Oh, keep using too much. All right, so this is about 2 milliliters, and I'm going to add this to B2. So same thing. I need to kind of mix it. But what do you observe in the parts that have mixed? Yep, and it's turning what color? Okay, there you go. So I'm going to start to mix out a little bit more. It's going to kind of settle. But again, I don't want it to get on my hands. Because the hydrochloric acid will corrode it. Okay, so this is by adding something completely different. It's turning it back to pink.
Excuse the interruption. At this time, if you could release JV softball. Thank you.
All right, so now that that has warmed up and cooled down, make sure you finish your observations for part 2. Okay, how do I mix this? Forgot to get the stopper. It's fine. It'll just corrode my sleeve. It's fine. All right. You guys ready now? This is back to better pink. It's not the exact original pink, but it's no longer like the blue is. Yes? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this P2, which has roughly 15 milliliters in it. It originally had the cobalt, then I added the hydrochloric acid, and then I diluted it with some water. And I'm going to place it in the hot water bath. So this is going to be for your third part. So put what you notice and wonder for your third part. So if you see where heat is on the reaction, and I'm putting the pink one in the hot water bath. So I'm going to sit there for a second. Has to change to the temperature of the water. Make your observations. Make sure you're adding your drawings. You have plenty of time. Have to turn this a little bit. So I'm holding it up. Again, with the white paper behind it. Kind of see the change. Again, these are not necessarily instantaneous. All right, so once it sits there for a while, I'm going to move it from the hot water bath into the ice water bath to see what happens, but I'm letting it sit. All right, so now, a little bit more, comparing it to my blue and my pink. Is it more blue or more pink? It's more blue. And it used to be more what? It used to be more pink. Putting it in the hot water bath, it's turning more blue. The bottom's a little more blue than the top. Okay, so again, comparing to our original P1 and B1, does it look more like the blue one now? Okay, so it's in the hot water bath, so now I'm going to put it in the cold water bath, now that it's kind of changed colors. And what do you think is going to happen when I put it in the cold water bath?
Pink.
Go back to pink.
Purple.
Okay, let's see. Maybe purple first? Maybe both? Move this over here. And can you do me a favor and turn off the hot plate now? Thank you. All right. Now that's in the cold water, what are you guys seeing? What color? It's now more pink, yes? And I'll let it sit there for a little bit longer. All right, so that should conclude your final observation for the third part.